Ever wonder why we assume a god among mortals would choose to punch bank robbers instead of running the entire planet? Turns out, the friendly alien farm boy might be the least realistic part of the whole fantasy. So imagine you wake up tomorrow and you're invincible. Not just strong, but actually untouchable. Bullets bounce off, buildings crumble under your fists, and you can hear every conversation happening within 100 miles. What's your first move? Here's the thing nobody wants to admit about absolute power. It doesn't come with an instruction manual that says, use responsibly. The comic books skip over the part where you realize every government on Earth either wants to weaponize you or eliminate you as a threat. Let's be real for a second. A being with Superman's abilities wouldn't be stopping purse snatchers in Metropolis. They'd be dealing with something far more complicated. The immediate knowledge that they're the most powerful entity on a planet of 8 billion fragile humans who suddenly look very breakable. Picture the scenario honestly. You can see through walls, hear heartbeats from miles away, and move faster than missiles. Privacy becomes a joke. Secrets don't exist anymore. Every crime, every whispered conversation, every hidden truth is suddenly available to your super senses, whether you want it or not. The psychological toll alone would be staggering. Humans aren't built to process that much information. We compartmentalize, we ignore, we deliberately don't think about all the suffering happening right now across the world. But Superman wouldn't have that luxury. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. With that level of power, why would you follow human laws at all? Not because you're evil, but because you'd quickly realize those laws were written by and for people who can't fly. The rules don't apply when you're essentially a walking nuclear arsenal. Governments would freak out immediately. We're talking emergency sessions at the United Nations, military mobilization, contingency plans, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your mere existence represents an uncontrollable variable. One bad day and you could level a city without breaking a sweat. The hero complex we see in comics is honestly adorable in its naivety. It assumes someone with godlike powers would care about maintaining the status quo. But why would you? You'd see exactly how broken human systems are, how arbitrary borders are, how preventable most suffering is if someone just acted. Let's talk about the savior problem. Say you do start helping people. Where do you stop? Save one person from a burning building and suddenly you're morally obligated to save them all. Every fire, every flood, every preventable death becomes your responsibility because you could have stopped it. That's a recipe for psychological collapse, not heroism. The guilt alone would be crushing. You'd know that while you're saving a cat from a tree in Nebraska, someone's dying in a massacre in Syria. Every second you spend sleeping or eating or doing anything except preventing maximum suffering makes you complicit. Here's the darker reality. Most humans would probably become tyrants with that power, not out of malice, but out of frustration. You'd see all the problems, know all the solutions, and watch humanity stubbornly refuse to implement them because of politics or profit or pride. How long before you start making decisions for people for their own good? Maybe you stop a war by threatening both sides. Maybe you redistribute resources because you can see exactly where they're needed. Maybe you start removing corrupt leaders because you know what they're planning. Congratulations, you're now a benevolent dictator. The Superman we know from comics practices this bizarre restraint that makes zero sense. He has the power to end world hunger, cure diseases through advanced alien technology, and force peace on Earth. But he doesn't. Because. Why exactly? Because humans need to solve their own problems? That's a convenient philosophical position when you're trying to justify why your all-powerful superhero isn't solving all the problems. But in reality, someone with that capability, who chooses not to use it, is essentially choosing to let suffering continue. Now imagine the isolation. You can't have normal relationships. Your girlfriend could die if you sneeze wrong. Your friends are fragile meatbags who age while you stay young. Every conversation is you pretending to be weaker, slower, dumber than you are just to fit in. The loneliness would be existential. You're not human, you just look like one. You have more in common with a hurricane or an earthquake than with the people you're supposedly protecting. You're a natural disaster that happens to have a conscience. Let's address the alien part directly. If Superman actually came from another planet, his value system wouldn't align with human morality at all. Maybe Kryptonian culture thinks democracy is primitive. Maybe they solve disputes through telepathic consensus. Maybe they don't even have concepts like good and evil the way we do. Here's a fun thought experiment. What if his powers came with alien psychology we can't comprehend? What if the way he perceives time or causality is so different that his decisions seem random or cruel to us, but make perfect sense from his perspective? The comics never explore the real possibility that an alien intelligence, even a benevolent one, might be terrifying to interact with. Think about how we treat animals we're trying to help. We don't ask for their consent, we don't explain our reasoning, we just do what we think is best. Now flip that. You're the animal in the scenario. Superman's helping you, sure, but you have no say in how, when, or why. He operates on a level you can't possibly understand or influence. That's not empowerment. That's being a pet. The power imbalance would poison everything. Romance? Impossible. Friendship? Built on lies. Work? Relationships? Please. Every interaction would be tainted by the knowledge that you're essentially humoring them. They think it's a conversation between equals, but you could end them with a thought. Most likely, a real Superman would either leave Earth entirely or take it over. The middle ground of friendly neighborhood superhero requires such specific psychological traits and restraint that it borders on the impossible. You'd need someone with godlike power, but human-level ambition, which makes no sense. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. Power doesn't select for humility. The traits that would let you survive as an alien on a hostile planet, ruthlessness, strategic thinking, self-preservation, are exactly the opposite of what makes Superman Superman. The comics give us the power fantasy without the philosophical horror. We want to believe that strength equals heroism, that anyone given ultimate power would choose to be kind. But human history suggests otherwise. Every empire, every dictator, every strongman started by promising protection. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A real Superman wouldn't need to be evil to be terrifying, just different, just alien. Just operating with priorities and perspectives that don't align with human interests. The road to authoritarian control is paved with beings who genuinely think they're helping. What's more likely than the hero we imagine? Someone who tries to help, fails to understand why humans resist, gets frustrated with our complexity, and either leaves in disgust or decides to simplify the problem by removing human choice from the equation. And maybe that's why the comic book version is so important. Not because it's realistic, but because it represents what we hope power would look like if we ever found it. It's a fairy tale we tell ourselves, that strength can coexist with kindness, that power doesn't corrupt, that someone better than us would still choose to protect us rather than rule us. But in reality, that flying man in a cape would be the most dangerous thing to ever exist on this planet, not because he'd be evil, but because he wouldn't have to be. The gap between intention and impact gets wider the more powerful you become. And nobody, human or alien, has ever successfully managed the burden of being a god without breaking something fundamental in the process.